Alright, quick update. This saw came in not running. And sometimes you see stuff it's hard to believe. And you can tell it runs pretty good right now, right? This is the spark plug that came out of it. And check this out. I tried to pull the cap off. Came right off and the whole ignition cap was melted. So, I don't know how it could get that way, but that's what it did. As far as the way it's running, look at that. That's a nice, little on the rich side color. So the saw is healthy, but it quit because that situation right there, I believe, killed the ignition. So, you can tell it's back up and running. It took about 15-20 minutes. What I did was I took the ignition off of this saw. And this saw is dead. See how much? Yeah, it's dead. I'm going to guess from the amount of play in there that what probably happened is it took out either the wrist pin or the rod bearing. And hear it on the inside? It's kind of scratchy on the inside. So something's been damaged on the inside. That don't sound good, does it? So my hunch is what you're hearing there is some bits and pieces of bearing stuck between the piston and the cylinder wall. So I'm going to declare this one dead. I need some parts off it anyway. This was the G372 that I built a while back. It went out to Matt the logger for a while and he liked it. Came back a couple of times, little bits and pieces, but he had to tape together the top cover because it kept coming off, and then it finally blew up on him this week. So it's been out there for, I don't know, 6 months. I can't remember when we put it in his hands, but it was early this year, and I was expecting it to blow up like the last one in about 6 months. Well, if you listen to him, that may still be true, because he said he didn't use it all the time, but he really liked it when he did use it. And you can tell from the dirt and stuff, it's got a fair amount of time on it. But the bottom line is, these Chinese saws, so far, every one I've done that's been a little bit tweaked on, and I mean every one of them, there's no exceptions, the bottom ends have gone. And usually it's the main bearing and the crank. That's what comes apart. So if you're going to build one of these darn things and you really want it to make some power, you probably have to get an OEM crank for it. Even a used OEM crank is probably better than the one that came with it. Now this one here was a really strong saw, and it has the gutted intake and the gutted filter holder and the Chinese version of the Walbro carb for an X-Torque. So, but it's gone now. Of course, this is the other thing I do, is I always chop those fins so it doesn't eat a hole in the ignition. But so G372 modified is officially gone. It's done. Eventually have to put that in that little boat. Can't beat the morning. So this is sea trials for this little motor right here. It's a 25 horse Evinrude 2-cylinder, 2-stroke, and it is temporarily replacing my little Mercury for this boat right here, OGP boat. And so we're going to do sea trials and see what kind of speed it has. And one thing I like about it is it lets it start, so I have to carry an extra battery around. The other thing is I like the gear shift right here, forward and reverse. It's easy to operate that, so that's cool. Kill switch right there, choke right there, starter button right here. Pumps, has a goofy whale tail on it. I'm not sure if I like it or not. And what it needs And what I bought it for was because it had a bad starter motor. And what I was able to do was I got the existing one to turn. I just got a screwdriver in there and twisted on it a little bit and kind of broke it free. And it doesn't spin the motor over great, but it spun it over enough to start. So I'll wait a little bit before I put the new one on because I got it started without it. What I have not done is I have not put a multimeter on the battery just yet, so I don't know whether or not it's actually charging or not. So here we are, and let me see if I can get my phone set up for the speedometer. And we'll see what it has for speed. Right now we're going 0. I don't know if you can see that or not. So what I've got to do is I got to find a place to set the speedometer to where I can get to it with the camera. Let's see what happens. I'll pop it in the forward. It says max speed, and I cannot read it. Hopefully the camera can. But nice little motor. I mean, it runs good. The other thing I like about this motor is it idles. It'll sit there and idle like a lawnmower all day long. Highly recommend that motor. So let's go for a ride around the lake and just let it go for a little bit and let it run. Shallow up here. This is Route 56 over there. Motor runs pretty rough when it comes off of a pull. Not sure why, but it does. It's not getting hot. Probably ought to turn around here pretty quick though. It goes right in the rocks there. Go back down the river. I'm gonna kick it out of gear and then see how hot it is. Warm but not hot. We'll let it cool down. Put down the river here and let it cool off. I don't think I need an impeller on it, but I think I'll put one on anyway for next year. It's getting pretty good water flow. And I had it pretty close to flat out for probably, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, just coming up the river. But right in there, that part throttle is where it's really rough. Pops through pretty quick. That simply could be the coil.